Let's make a backup of our current database as it exists right now. The easy way to do this is to come over to AdventureWorks. We'll right click on it, go to Tasks, and underneath Tasks there's a menu item for Backup. Notice there's one from Restore too. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So we get a nice little GUI here that makes our job easy. First, it asks, what kind of backup do I want to do? Do I want to do a full? Do I want to do a differential? Let's do a full backup. We'll back it up to disk. You may not have a destination there. I've obviously done a backup on this before, so I had something populated there. Let's do one. Let's add. Okay, and then we have to have it tell it a file name that we want to back up to. So I'm going to use the ellipsis here, so I can go. I have a D drive on my computer. I am going to just put it in the root of that D drive. I'm going to call it January 21 backup. Okay, so that's the name. That's the file name I'm going to back it up to on my D drive. And I could say OK. What else do we have here? We have some options. We're not going to do a copy only backup. Media options. We want to back up to the existing media set. Do we want to append to it, or do we want to overwrite what's existing already there? I don't have anything existing there already, so we're just going to append to the existing backup set. Reliability. We have this option to verify when we're finished. So it'll make the backup, and then it'll go through and read the backup and make sure the backup exactly matches the database. That's a good thing to do. Our database is really small, and it's not super critical. I'll go ahead and leave that checked though. Let's leave it checked. Continue if there's an error. Well, maybe we want to, maybe we don't. I'm not going to check that one. We'll leave that verify backup when finished on. Then we have backup options here. We can give the backup set a name. AdventureWorks 2012 full database backup is going to be the default name. We'll go ahead and leave that. That's fine. We can set our backup to expire. We don't really care to do that. Do I want to compress the backup to make it smaller? I don't care to do that. Our AdventureWorks database isn't that big anyway. So we can go through all these different options. And then we can say OK. Okay. And it's executing the backup right now. Okay. I just did the backup. So if I open a new File Explorer and go to that D drive, I can see January 21st backup right there. And I didn't name it .back. So I'm going to delete that because I want to do this backup again. Okay. So let's go back, and I'm going to go through the steps again. Right click, go to Tasks, Backup. Full is there. Those settings are there. Verify backup when finished. I'm going to go ahead and check that. Now this time, instead of saying OK though, I'm going to come up here to the script button, and you'll see the script button in other places in Visual Studio too. Any place that you have the opportunity to use a GUI, a lot of times there's a script button there. After you get all your options set, instead of saying OK, hit script, and it will generate the SQL code for you. So let's look at the SQL code that's generated here. Backup database AdventureWorks. Now it puts it all in one line here. To disk, and there's our directory with no format, no init. There's our name. I'm putting these on separate lines just to make it easier to read. Skip, no rewind, no unload. All those options that we picked in are there. Okay. And then we have the commands down here for that one option that I did that does the verification. Okay. So we have this command. Now we can take this command if we want to. We can copy it and use it in a script on our server maybe. to automate this backup so that maybe it runs at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So I didn't need to know how to use every single one of these commands in order to pick those options. But you can see that this looks, at least this first part before we did the verification, very, very similar to what we did when I was showing you commands in the previous video. We let the server write it for us. If I want to execute this, I can come up here and do execute. And it's executing the query. It means it's doing the backup. It actually, here's our every 10% processed. It finished very quickly. Here's all the pages, completion time. And then it went through and did the actual check to make sure that the backup set is completely valid. We can go back and look at our folder. There it is, January 21st backup, and still forgot to put .back in there. So I'm just going to add that .back because we usually name our files that. Don't forget your .back. I'm going to execute it again because it didn't take that long. Now let's go look at our D drive again. And that's the better version. January 21st backup.back. Okay. Get rid of this old one. Okay. There's my backup file. It's always good to put the right file extension name on. All right. So I'm going to come over here to AdventureWorks. I'm not going to delete it first. Let's just go over here and restore. Say we messed up our table. Let's do that. Here we had sales test table. I remember making that. Let's drop table DBO dot sales test table. Okay. And I need to be on the AdventureWorks database. Okay. So we're going to drop that table. It's gone. We just lost all our data. Refresh it. And you can see it's not there anymore. Somebody accidentally deleted all of our data in that table we don't really care about. So let's do a restore. AdventureWorks 2012, I'm going to right click, go to tasks. I'm going to hit restore database. And where is it at? What are we going to restore? Hey, this kind of made it easy for us because it told us. Here's the name of the database we're going to restore. Restore plan. It knows what database we backed up. Wow. How convenient is that? It automatically finds it for us. If we want to, we can come over here to our files. If we don't want to use that particular backup, this is where it's going to restore to. These are our files in that folder where we initially put our database at the beginning of the semester. And options, let's overwrite the existing database. Yeah, we don't need to overwrite it. We're just going to fill in our data back. See what happens. And it's restoring January 21st backup.back. Notice it found that even though I didn't use this to put the file extension on it. See what happens. Oh, it said it failed. Why did it fail? Cannot be obtained because the database is in use. Ah. Let's just delete this database. Close all existing connections to the database. I still had queries open to the database, and we can't have queries. Actually, let's try that. Let's get rid of these queries that had connections open to our database and try it again. So I am going to go to tasks, Restore database. I'm just going to say OK, and let's see if it, restored successfully. If we go back and look at our tables now, hit refresh. There's our sales test table. It has returned. Okay, so to do a restore on your database, you got to make sure all the users are disconnected. And since I had those query windows open that were connected to that database, it wouldn't let me do the restore. Likewise, let's do that restore again real quickly. Tasks, restore database. If I want to, I could have hit the script button, and here's the script button that actually restored our database. And that's the command that it ran to restore it.